What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, taking a look at my most updated Water XYZ deck. This is a deck that I go back to every once in a while. It's like one of my favorite to play, and I am always looking to improve it, and I'm really happy where it's at right now. I think this is the most consistent that it's been. I feel like I've really streamlined the extra deck and kind of just simplified it so much more than I did before. So let's go into it and take a look. These are like cross out targets, but there's so many. If you want to go the budget way, there's so many things you can take out, like triple tactics, which isn't actually bad right now. I think it's like $18 or something, but it's not nearly as expensive as it used to be. Forbidden Droplets is easily one that you can take out, but you do run a lot of spell cards in this deck, and it technically is a cross out target. I guess you never really know what your opponent's going to do, but this card has won me a lot of them. It's almost like I think of this card as it's being limited. You know, if it was a limited card, I think I'd still put it in the deck just because of how powerful it is going second. And, going second is not the best thing for this deck. It kind of struggles to do that. Dark Ruler, because that is the most anti-card ever against you. So if your opponent doesn't play hand traps and you have this in your hand, you can set it and still use it, which I think is really important to maximize. I think you should always play Dark Ruler if you're playing Crossout Designator. I think it's like a necessity, but that's just kind of how I view it. Imperm, of course. Nibiru, obviously. Ash, and Effect Veiler. You can throw like anonymous ones in, right? You can take out these two and throw in like Ghost Bell or just any of those other, like Droll and Lockbird probably would be like a way smarter thing than Forbidden Droplets. If not, like that's definitely the thing that you should do. So things like that. Obviously, it's very flexible when it comes to Crossout, but this is just a list, that I'm running right now. 3 copies of Abyss Shark. This is one of the newer supports for fish, which it's one of the best by far. Hopefully in the future, there's a few more fish support to come out, like especially ones that can special summon themselves from the graveyard, level 4s. But, mostly your target's going to be Crystal Shark. But if you do happen to hard open it, you can also go into Silent Angler. I used to run this at 3 thinking it's such a necessity because it's a free body, but does lock you out of special summoning from your hand, and you do a lot of that now. So it's almost like you can really take this out and play another Crystal Shark. It's kind of up to you, but I do like having that one extra card to search just in case, especially when it comes to follow-up with Abyss Shark. That's just kind of my viewpoint on it. 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark. This is just like, summon something from the deck every single turn, and some really unique things you can do with it, and I'll show a replay where I got like really creative with the monsters that you use. This is the the lifeblood of the deck, the main play starter, one of the best cards in the main deck. Buzzsaw Shark. Lifeless Leaf Fish. So this lets you Foolish Burial one. So, and I also run 1 Lantern Shark, and hopefully you'll see it over the replays, but just in case, right? If you open up Beautiful Princess and Buzzsaw Shark, that's a buzzkill, right? You wouldn't be able to use both normally, but if you play this one of Lantern Shark, then it's good, right? You don't want to have too many normal summons. You want to have the least possibility to have Buzzsaw Shark and Lantern, or having multiple normal summons in your hand, which is obviously very bad. And you also want to have most of your bodies be free special summons. You don't want to lose to an Imperm. That's why I used to run this at 3, and then it's just kind of like, okay, normal summon, Imperm, okay, like pass turn. So that's kind of why I only play this at 1, but it's just that one off chance, that you open both of these, so that way you can still extend and actually get a free extra body out of it. Lantern can then summon Buzzsaw Shark, and so on and so forth. Lifeless is also just one of those really good one-ofs, something that you can bring out of the deck with Buzzsaw Shark, something that I really like to do, because as Foolish Burials, you'll see one where I already opened up Remora, so there's nothing really else to send to the graveyard other than like something like Lifeless Leaf Fish, so you can just like bring it back with something like Mirror or White Mirror, and then it can Foolish Burial Crystal Shark and just kind of give you another extender. 2 of the new card Mina Ruka. This is a new like water extender that came out literally like a couple sets ago. I haven't really kept up with the TCG releases recently, but I know this is like brand new. I think I picked up 1 copy when I went to YCS in LA. I think I have like 1 laying around somewhere now. Probably want to get an extra copy. You can do some interesting things with it. You can tribute itself and target a face-up card on the field, negate it. And that's really good against like something like a continuous trap card, because other than that, this deck has never had an answer for something like that. 3 copies of Ascended Sage. I've like gone so back and forth. I've run it at 1, 2, and 3, but 3's the best. I used to run Shinthana, and those 2 conflicted. I hate playing cards that conflict with each other. Even if it's a small chance for them to do it and it to happen that way. But this is a free body. You can commit all the way to it now with the way that the deck is played. Right? It's one of the best free special summons because it just gives you so much advantage. XYZ Remora is just insane. It's 3 materials. It's a free body, brings 2 back. That lets you go into Bahamut Shark, which usually helps you extend into something like F-Zero. Truly, truly incredible. Talked about how good Beautiful Princess. And speaking of, here's the new like major change to the deck profile. It's Puri Res Map. You know, you'll see in the replays. Normally this is Prada Prosperity, but I've recently, you know, realized like, well, Beautiful Princess is incredible. It does dodge Imperm, which is like kind of nice, but it's the, you know, it's the lifeline to everything in your deck, which is obviously just very, very good. And this is searches a monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. Because this is such a casual deck, I like wouldn't recommend like you picking up Prada Prosperity just to play this silly little thing. You know, like this is like a substitute that is like I think it's like pennies to buy this card. I think it's extremely cheap. So one of the things I'm very happy about, and pretty much the reason why I'll like now actually be picking up the deck. 1 copy of Galaxy Cyclones is something that you're going to attach to Photon Lord that helps you get rid of those continuous traps, helps you get rid of those nasty field spells, and also, you know, it gives the ability of your Photon Lord to destroy a monster, not just negate its effect, it negates and destroys. 3 copies of White Mirror. These 2 cards are just absolutely buku bonkers, right? It brings something back in searches, and a lot of the times you want to bring back XYZ Remora. It's absolutely fantastic. This is the Rank Up Magic spell, Hyper Rank Up Magic Utopia Force, Called by the Grave, 3 copies of Crossout Designator, because this is a combo deck that completely is like kind of paper thin, to be honest with you. So it's just something that's completely necessary. Onto the extra deck, and like I said, I used to run all these 1-ofs, and I was like, what if that was in this very specific scenario? And then I realized, like, it's not really how Yu-Gi-Oh works. You know, you just want to be the most consistent. You want to have the most follow-up, all of those kinds of things. And I think that this version of the extra deck does that really, really well. Right? There's always siding if you know you're going second. So Zeus, it's just, you kind of have to have that in an XYZ deck. Number 99, you know, that goes along with Utopia and S39. Some people play Double or Nothing, but if you open it, then you can't use it. And that's just like really depressing, like super bad. There's just a free body to rank up on top, so you can use it twice, right? 1 for Hope Harbinger and 1 for number 90, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. You can also go into Stealth Kragan. I will show where that comes up momentarily in one of my combos. 2 Bahamut Shark, 2 Totally Awesome. I used to be like, oh, you know, you can do 1 Totally Awesome. And then I'm like, why am I limiting myself? Like, the best chance I'm going to have to win is to go all out on my first turn, right? Again, not having these like random one-off situations. Like, I should just have these extra Toads in case I have these very specific lines. So 2 Bahamut Shark, 2 Toad. ZS, you know, Topic Sage brings this out from the deck, which is really cool. 2 Stealth Kragan. Again, just like maxing out on these cards. It's like such good follow-up. It's a great card against your opponent's Nibiru token. It can like burn your opponent's life away, win you a lot of duels. And then the F-Zero package, which obviously just works so well with Bahamut Shark and Utopic Sage. It's the perfect matchup. Side deck. Few things you can do, lots of different ideas, and the side deck isn't really anything too special, but at least 1 card you should have in your side deck for sure is number 92, Hard Earth Dragon. If you're playing against a trap deck, this is an instant win. If your opponent tries to set 5, they lose automatically. During the end phase, you can detach material from the card, and all cards that were set special summon that turn are banished instead. So your opponent may think, oh, I have Torrential Tribute, I have Solemn Strike. You know, my opponent may have all this big board, but I'm going to break it, you know, with my skill drain and all those kinds of things. They set 5, they try to go to the end phase, number 92 effect, you win the duel. Right? It even gets around the one that reveals Heavenly Dragon Lord, I think it's called, where you can't destroy the back row, but it doesn't do that, right? It just banishes them, which is really, really, really good. This is Salamangreat Blaze Dragon. This is kind of a good going second card. If you would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach material instead, so kind of helps you fight through Zeus or get to Zeus if you need to in a very desperate situation. But I guess you can go like for the Zodiac package here. You know, Abyss Dweller is also obviously an option. If you get locked into water monsters, you know, you can still go into it, which is really nice. And there's going to be a lot of decks that rely on their graveyard, so I think it's something worth having in the side deck, but not maybe, you know, not mating it. These are just cards, you know, Raigeki, Lightning Storm. I'm sure you've seen these before. Harpy's Feather Duster, Dark Ruler, and then 3 Evenly Matched. I don't think that's anything too crazy there. Okay, so now let's go over, if you guys have never seen this before, here's like the essential combo of the deck, or the mainline combo. Here's Puri Res Map, right? Searching Beautiful Princess, which I'll play, makes my play so much better, right? If it was Pot of Prosperity there, I would just hope that I was going to find what I wanted to. So I already had Remora, which is really cool, because normally what you want to summon off of it is Remora so that you can, reborn it and everything. Because I already hard opened it, I can actually just summon Lifeless Leaf Fish, bring it back and send Crystal Shark. I think I have one more extender than I actually even need here. So Bahamut Shark, making sure I detach specifically that Lifeless Leaf Fish for now. I can bring it back, right, when it's special summon lets me Foolish Burial Fish, which is going to be Crystal Shark. And then I can go into Utopic Sage. And then I can, bring out Ascend Sage, go into F-Zero, right? I had used, the Utopic Sage to bring out the ZS monster, and then Bahamut Shark made Toad, so getting the most maximum value out of my cards. And it's funny, so this card has to target a water monster, and it's like, well, this is a light, but funny enough, Stealth Kraken makes everything on the field water, so it doesn't actually matter, and it works really well with the Bishark. Something that I don't think I ever really realized before, but also, like, imagine this was in defense position. You want to play around Lightning Storm, and you may be thinking, like, oh, well, this has 0 defense, so why would you ever put it in defense position? But this protects your monsters from battle, and also you have another card that pops the monster, so they're never going to be able to just normal summon Get Over Toad. That's not, unless they have, like, Dark Ruler, obviously. But in this case, I had, Cross-Eyed Designator, which is really cool, and, during your opponent's turn, you can bring out the other thing. So yeah, like, this is the mainline idea behind the deck. Every single zone on your field is going to be filled with monsters, with boss monsters, right? Utopic Future Draco, Hope Harbinger, Photon Lord, which is a monster to gate, Toad, which is an Omni to gate, and then your Stealth Kraken, which is a pop. And then this, of course, protects your monsters from battle as well. So it's not just a sitting duck there on the field. Tons of follow-up, right? When Totally Awesome, tributes itself. I already have Crystal Shark in the graveyard. I can add back something like Buzzsaw Shark and, just keep going and, like, kind of finish off my opponent if that would ever be necessary, right? You have so much interaction. Most of the time, it's probably going to be pretty darn good. So here's just another quick combo. Buzzsaw Shark can bring something out. This is a little bit more of a traditional, like, this is going to bring out Remora, and then I can go into Bahamut Shark, bring out Toad, and I can bring back Remora, search a copy, go into Stealth Kraken, send those 2 off. So this is just, yeah, I mean, anytime you see White Mirror, you're just in such a good spot. It's really the best opening. And you don't have to go through the Utopia stuff. You can actually just kind of go through alternate routes. That's why I wanted to show this one too. This is also very strong. 2 Toads, 2 Omni Negates, Utopic Future. And this is even like almost a better setup than the Utopia line because I get double follow-up, right? Toad brings itself back, and I still have all of this Utopia engine in the extra deck as follow-up, which is like insane follow-up, right? It's like I already have like all the bodies I need already, for the follow-up plays, and these are just going to keep adding back monsters and, obviously disrupting my opponent quite well. And then I just happen to have Cross-Eyed Designator here and an Ash, I guess, which is just the cherry on top. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these replays. This is against Runic. There was a time where I was experimenting, with different play starters, right? I was like, I wanted to have more water monsters, so I was like, let me go for Shinthana instead of ZS, and this should just be ZS, right? And if it was, my hand would be a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter. My opponent has Sphere mode, so if I don't finish him off here, kind of in a rough spot, so we'll see where he ends up using his interaction. It does have a Freezing Curses, which is the effect monster negation. Let's just go really far. I'm not really sure why. I guess he wants to stop Toad now. Okay. He's going to banish. There's nothing really important other than the rank up magic spell. Crystal Shark, I guess, is unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Remora can search another copy. Almost everything's a 3 of. And then I can just, selectively search or detach materials. Nothing really needed here because I'm going to go into, Future Draco and just popping off after this Freezing Curses comes down. No spells and traps for him to destroy, so not really doing anything. Crystal Shark can come down, and like I said, this is what I was like, oh, I'm going to play all these situational cards, but it's not super necessary. But obviously you can see that there's a very high ceiling on this deck. My opponent had Freezing Curses, and I was still able to make double Kraken, Future, Totally Awesome, and then this 2, which probably just is like any other 4 at that point. This is against Mikenko. So my opponent has to feel okay. I don't really know anything about Mikenko cards, to be honest with you, but he does have Ultimate Slayer and a Kaiju and whatever he gets off the top. Quite a random deck. Has, Maximus here too. Why not? Stealth Kraken, and I'm going to go full combo, and that's the thing, right? If it's very frail. If your opponent has Dark Ruler and you don't have an answer, you lose most of the time, but This deck also kind of exemplifies, well, your opponent like has to draw the out. If they don't, then they're probably going to lose. Every single zone on your field is filled with a very powerful extra deck monster. Right, so let's see where he starts. He's probably going to, use Ultimate Slayer on Toad to get rid of my Omni Negate. And look at that, I did use Lifeless Leaffish does have a graveyard effect. You can banish, shuffle 3 back to draw a card, and I drew into Crossout Designator, which is like really amazing. So if my opponent did have Dark Ruler, which I kind of thought he did because he didn't activate anything during my turn, I would have had the answer, but I didn't. So he's going to go for Ultimate Slayer, he's going to go for the Kaiju, but even still, I have a Monster Pop, I have a Monster Negate, and another like Snatch Steal Monster Negate, which, is definitely enough to get the job done. It's just cool. It's like literally like overwhelming power, which is kind of nice. Again, this should just be, pure res map. I think that my play would have been even just a little bit better. Although I think because of what I have here, it's already like super duper full combo. I can go early into ZS, right? I feel comfortable doing that, not playing into Nibiru because I do have the cross out, for that. Remora, just seeing these cards as much as possible is so good. And it's kind of what a Bishark is able to do. Kind of fills in that gap, gives you extra copies, so to speak, of XYZ Remora. Yeah, and this is just everything. If your opponent is like relying on this, then it's not going to work out too well for him. Again, just having an answer for like some of those really powerful cards. And I did want to go over this. I did like end this on a little bit different note. Just to show you that like this is kind of crazy, right? Stealth Kragan, Hope Harbinger, totally awesome. Future Draco. So if you feel comfortable enough, and again, if you're playing a trap deck mostly, I would like almost always go into Photon Lord, but this is an option, and it's a really good one. It kind of puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, right? Can't be destroyed by battle, so they kind of have to get creative in the way that they get through it. And Dark Ruler more wouldn't have been an answer in this case. I'm going to go ahead and pop that, right? Burn my opponent. Kind of good for time if you think about tournaments, too. Stealth Kragan could come up. You never know. This is against Sprite. This is just full combo, so Shinthana's that free body. Should just be ZS, but I'm going to be able to get there anyways. They ended up serving the exact same purpose at this point. Just sending the Lifeless Leaffish there. I'm not going to be able to use the effect, but you never know. If I get a White Mirror off the top, it'd be pretty much my best option to send to the graveyard. Nothing else really does anything. And this is one of the cooler setups, just Future Draco, two Totally Toads, and Stealth Kragan. Yeah, and again, like Sprite's just not great going second, I feel like. I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and steal his level 4 monster. I haven't gone into my Utopia engine yet. I'm going to go ahead and negate Sprint. He's going to try to use Smashers. Of course, I'm just going to get rid of this because he has to banish a card from field, and suddenly my opponent doesn't have anything to do. And I have one more Sprite replay, and it's hilarious, right? This is such a bad opening. It's kind of like I'm not going to say the worst case scenario. Sometimes you'll just straight up brick, but this is not very good. You're only going to end on 2 interruptions, but if you have 2 interruptions to use, these are like a couple of good ones, right? This is the starter, right? I can just use that to grab starter, and then if I just stop my opponent's normal summon, Stealth Kragan may have been the better answer, to be honest with you. I don't know, right? To pop his normal summon, that way he can't do anything, because it is a numbered monster, but either works, I guess. So he's going to start by normal summoning Nimble Beaver. I'm just going to go ahead and destroy that, and then I was like, okay, the only thing he has left is starter, right? And then I just grabbed that, and he loses. It's funny that that's like kind of a reality for Sprite. This is hilarious. This is against just the most random stun deck you've ever seen. It's literally just stun deck the deck, just with a bunch of random modern cards. The Seal of Orichalcos, just a little bit of everything here. But it does go for, Final Fossil Dyna. I don't even know how to say this card, but he's going to go for Effect Failure, not even reading cards. Why bother? I'm going to go and take control of his monster, right? Fossil is a level 4. That's just, it was too funny for me not to put this in the video, right? He just has playing Super Mega Ultra Stun, Effect Failure, Bottomless Trap Hole. He's playing, Fossil Dino, shotguns that. He tries to go for the Ash Blossom. I have Crossout Designator for it. It's just kind of funny. Like, I'm sure this person who I was playing just hates combo decks with a passion. And I just kind of had the perfect answer for all of it. Free special summon, BU Tuneful Princess, and that's why you play Crossout Designator. You kind of just have to. But to see this now, yeah, it just means full combo. And like looking at my opponent's hand, this is like definitely not gonna, you know, do anything. I'm gonna have every single, right? I'm gonna have a Pop, I'm gonna have Toad and F-Zero, all of those things. And I don't even know if I need Crystal Shark. I think I do end up using it. No, I don't need to. Unbelievable. You kind of just send an extender just for like later if you need it. It is great follow-up to have in the graveyard. It's a level 4 body every single turn, so can't be too mad at that. I'm going to go ahead and draw one. It ends up being Abyss Shark. Okay, that's fine. And then obviously I'm going to go for Photon Lord, and let's see what my opponent can do here. Probably not much. He's going to go for Pot of Prosperity. I thought, well, I might as well keep everything in front of me here. It's kind of how I think about it, right? If he I don't really know what else like would be worth negating there over it in Vanquish Soul. I guess Small World, he goes into like, what, a Kaiju or something? I don't know. Probably doesn't really do much, does it? Here are, I'll just show one more just because of how funny it is. So I've talked about this all the time. Like this deck is just like straight up folds to just floodgates. It just can't do anything. It's just not how the deck functions. But I was able to get an imperm in there. I was hoping this was like our effect failure. So I was hoping this was imperm. It is not. So again, could have just been Piri Res map, kind of the same thing. And he's going to call, you know, he can only control one type, and he wants to control zombies, of course. Luckily, I do have some bodies to get over it, so his Unizombie isn't going to do anything, but I'm really just a sitting duck for now. But I'm going to get a little creative, you know, if I get the chance to. He goes for Bigfoot, that's fine. I think I searched another copy or something, but I'm going to go ahead and summon out, you guessed it, this new card, Minaruka. I don't know how to say it. But anyways, it lets you banish a fish, sea serpent, aqua monster to negate a face-up card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to banish itself, or not banish itself, banish this Abyss Shark so that I can, you know, now play, right? I'm going to negate Rivalry of Warlords. Kind of cool, like, to at least have an answer like that. And wow, look at his mills. Mills 5. He mills Necro World Banshee and Baylor Drock. Must be nice. So he's going to try to go for this. I think he ends up banishing Bloodstock Shark from the graveyard, which is like really funny. But yeah, I just thought that was like super duper hilarious. And I thought it was like kind of neat answer, you know, kind of find that. But I also like, I did not normal summon this turn. So like even if he did banish this, I could have crashed into the Baylor Drock, special summon to Sun Sage, and, you know, and like normal summon Remora and kind of go from there. I think that would have worked out, or I could have, like, I don't know. There were definitely a few options, but I did want to show that very niche scenario. I thought that was just kind of neat, but I kind of would have liked to see how that duel played out. I don't really know if I would have won, but I think it would have been a lot closer. But, okay, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it, and I'll see you guys next time.